Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we're going to talk about bodybuilding, my journey with bodybuilding, why it has been the actual best thing to ever come into my life, my history with just struggling, and all of the lessons that I've learned along the way. Because I feel like on my journey in bodybuilding and just as a coach, it's been so amazing. And I am honestly, not to toot my own horn, but I'm a good influence now. And you know, I'm 30 years old, so thank goodness, right? I've got it figured out by now. But this wasn't always the story. Like, I wasn't always a good influence, and that ties into my journey with bodybuilding and how it has seriously changed my life. So I felt called to make this video because time and time again, I hear people say that they are not ready for a bodybuilding competition, even though they have been living the lifestyle, even though that they've been training for a really long time. It's just this overwhelming fear of failure or not enoughness, and it really and truly strips the beauty out of this whole entire process. It is not meant to be a scenario where you are constantly judging yourself and fearing that you're not enough, because it's supposed to prove the opposite to you. And that's just been my experience, and why my experience has changed my life is because I have operated from curiosity rather than judgment the whole entire time. So let's dive in. First of all, if you didn't know, I come from a family of bodybuilders. My grandma, my mom, my dad, my uncles, and so this is something that I grew up with. And I probably lived a little bit different of a lifestyle, just because my family is into fitness and eating healthy. Like, my mom would always pack me homemade meals and home cooked meals all the time. It was very rare that we would go out to dinner. My dad had me lifting correctly, like got me a trainer when I was really young, because he knew that I was gonna go into college and lift more seriously, and he wanted to make sure my foundations were really great. But I was lifting with him prior to that. I really grew up in a gym because my dad is still a personal trainer, and I would go there after school and pretty much just lived in the gym. So that ties into it. And then I have played sports my entire life. So seriously, since I was 4, and soccer was my sport of choice after trying a bunch of them, and I was really competitive. I was on a tournament team. I was on, all at once, by the way, tournament team, like club team, high school, and I also ran track throughout high school and in college. And sports has always been my life, and I am just a natural athlete. Like, I would always say I'm not a really good soccer player, but I'm an extreme athlete. Fastest kid on the team, jumped the highest, strongest, and I just grew up with a chip on my shoulder, I'd say. And I was just an angry kid, and this helped my soccer career so much because I was a center defender, and I just wanted to like slide tackle people and make sure nobody scored and hunt people down. Yeah, so that was my game. And then, so all this is to tie into the fact that when I started bodybuilding, I wasn't new to it, and I wasn't new to building muscle. I had a ton of muscle. And I say this because a lot of people expect to do really well their first show, or go pro within 2 shows, which I have done and which my husband has done. But this is a physique that has been built since I was 4, you know? And obviously I have the genetics for it, coming from a family of bodybuilders. And so I think that this ties into this fear of failure, this mindset where it's like, I'm not good enough, I'm never gonna be good enough, and I'm scared to do it. And it is so scary to jump outside of your comfort zone. But the moral of the story is I started bodybuilding because I had gained some weight after COVID, and I just wanted to push myself. And I had never, ever been able to stick to a diet. Like, that was, I could never, you know, like that thought, I could never. But to go into my past a little bit, as a really great athlete, I was always really distracted. And this made it so that I never felt like I lived up to my full potential in sport. And this is because I was partying, I was drinking, I wasn't eating well. I had that in the back of my mind, like, I'm not good enough anyway. And it would all just hold me back, just extremely distracted. And so when I started to bodybuild, I made the conscious decision that said, look, I'm signing up for this, and I'm going to compete, and I want to show up the best that I can. And it is on nobody but me, right? Like, I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna do the work, and I'm gonna show up on that stage. Obviously, there's multiple variables, such as like coaching, your protocols, and how you peak and whatnot. But I decided, hey, you're gonna actually go all in on this. And so that's what I did. And I hired my uncle. So I was like, dude, I'm gonna do this. Like, there's this new category, it's called wellness, and I'm gonna go for it. And so him and I came together. He basically gave me a macro plan, and he gave me like macros and calories, and then he gave me, I did my own strength, and then I would check in with him every so often. Again, it was a new category. He's an old head, like, bodybuilder, and he's not like a bodybuilding coach. He just did really well in the industry back in the 90s or something, 80s. And so I was kind of on my own with it, but he was like my second set of eyes and gave me kind of like a baseline. And so that prep was the hardest thing I had ever done, simply because of the diet. The diet was so hard for me. It was the first time that I actually committed to a diet. And by the way, I still had all these like weird feelings towards food during that time. Like, I would save all of my calories for dinner, and I would basically like eat like a bird throughout the day and then save all of my calories for dinner, because I wanted to like be comfortable and like associate food with comfort, which, you know, if you've been bodybuilding for a while, you have to nip that in the butt. So anyway, I did it. I stuck to it, and I said, this was so cool, so fun. I really loved that physique. It was like very athletic physique. I didn't come in lean enough. I didn't know that. It was the leanest I had ever been, and I was like, this is sick. This is dope. But I ended up getting second place. So I got first in true novice, I got first in novice, and then I got second in open. And my posing coach, Ani, who's still my posing coach, by the way, and I send all of my girls to her. She's the best. If you wanna talk about posing, let me know in the comments and I'll do a whole episode on it. But she was like, Brooke, this qualifies you for nationals. So just, throwing it out there. And I fully went into that show saying like, I am literally never gonna bodybuild again. Like, it was really cool, but too hard. And then I got the second place, and I thought to myself, it's not in me to qualify for something and just not go. While all of this is going on, I don't know a lick about bodybuilding, really. Like, I don't know about quarter turns, really. I don't know about being on stage. I don't know about the way that the show is ran. I don't know about anything. I kind of just feel like, I'm just going through it and taking it as it comes. And throughout that experience, every single day, I showed myself what I was capable of, which was really, really empowering. And to make it to that finish line was really, really empowering. And so I recognized that I needed to level up if I wanted to do well, and I needed an actual bodybuilding coach. And so I was introduced to somebody at the gym that I go to, and he's a bodybuilding coach, and I was like, cool, like, I'm gonna hire this guy. And it went really well. So my first show was in April, and then I did nationals in December. So throughout that time, he worked with me on my training. So I didn't necessarily go in a caloric surplus. He just saw that my training needed work, because coming from like kind of like a powerlifting style and CrossFit style training, he needed me to focus more on isolation. And so we really upped the volume of my training, and we just focused on mind to muscle connection. I really didn't lift very heavy throughout that time, and I was just getting crazy newbie gains, like, because I was just training with all of this intention that I had never, gone before. So that was really, really cool to be growing muscle like a bodybuilder. And just, again, I was leading with curiosity, like, okay, wow, like, this is cool, like, all these new things is really cool. And then comes down to it, he's like, you had a great look for your first show, but we could do it, like, you could look way better. And I was like, okay, cool. So talk about the hardest thing ever, like, that was the hardest thing ever. For my first prep, I didn't do much cardio. I did cardio, and I wasn't taking any fat burners, but I lost a lot of weight because of the diet, and I was doing some cardio. And so I also remember I was doing like double days, like I would hit quads in like the afternoon and then come back at night after a few meals and like hit hamstrings and glutes or something. Like, it was crazy. It was funny. But again, I didn't have a coach. So then for nationals prep, now that was insane. I was like finally on a 6 meals a day meal plan, very strategic. Macros are calculated. And I cut out dairy, I cut out gluten, very anti-inflammatory, like the whole nine. And I had cardio. I had a lot of cardio. And I also was taking fat burners. I was taking Evogen, like powder fat burner, which ended up being like my sweet treat. Like, I would take it before cardio. And then I would take Yohimbe also. And I don't know if I'm saying that right. Anyway, I was also at the time working a lot, like 10-hour days. So the expenditure was really high. Anyway, I got shredded, like shredded to the bone. And I remember all these people saying like, you're gonna go pro. My coach would tell me too, like, you're gonna go pro. I genuinely didn't care and I didn't believe it. And I just was like, I don't know what that looks like, but I just need to like survive right now and put one foot in front of the other. And then when I went to nationals, I didn't really know what was going on. I just did my thing. I didn't realize I was holding center. I didn't realize that I had to go out again for the overall. Like, I didn't even know what the overall meant. They just told me like, we need you for the overall. And I'm like, I just went up. Like, why are you making me go up again? Like, I didn't get it. So anyway, all of this was just, you know, when you're out of it, because when you're in it, you're in it. But when you're out of it and you reach that moment where you're like, dude, I just did everything I said I was going to do, and not in the way of winning, but in the way of putting one foot in front of the other, getting your cardio done, not cheating on your diet, and just really giving 100% of yourself to that prep and cutting things off, cutting people off, making sure that your energy is for the things that you need it for, like your training and your cardio. And really and truly just, you're taken on this beautiful journey. And there are not many things that you can say this kind of metamorphosis would happen, because you're in, I try to describe it like this, like you're in a boundaried like sphere. There's all of these rules that are on the outline of your circle, okay? And those rules are stick to your diet, cardio, protocols, limit your energy expenditure outside of those things. You know, those are your boundaries that you have to stick to. And so in a way, you feel really grounded because those things are happening no matter what. You feel really grounded to be able to explore and learn about yourself and just make sure that you're not, you know, going outside of the rules. But so that's why you get to go through this really beautiful metamorphosis, because no matter what, you have to level up. You have to stick to your protocol, and protocol, as you know, gets harder per week, you know, and you step outside of your comfort zone, and there is so much beauty in that. And almost weekly, you know, if in your prep, if you feel comfortable, it's time to level up. So you're just in this constant state of feeling uncomfortable, and there again is just so much growth there. And so what I'm trying to make a point of is all you can focus on is yourself and is your protocol and your boundaries, and for you to feel grounded and able to explore, okay, who am I without my social life? Who am I without being able to turn to food? Who am I without drinking or going out, you know, social life? Who am I when my back is against the wall and it is just me that has to do this? And just, there's so much that you get to learn about yourself. And so what makes me sad is when people are in this constant state of comparing themselves to other people, other preps, being an amateur, comparing yourself to a pro, just even in general, comparing yourself to anyone. And I'm gonna get into that. But it makes me sad because you are quite literally stripping yourself of the opportunity to flourish. And that's literally why I made my team name Fearless to Flourish, because you have to be fearless. You have to step outside of your comfort zone to flourish. And trust me, you won't go into a prep and get out of a prep being the same person. There's shifts that go on. And what I will say also is each prep, your threshold grows and you're able to do more and get better because you're used to the variables, you know what to expect. And so you get to fine tune even more, and you have data that you didn't have before, and like, oh, I actually need less protein and more carbs. Like, you figure out things about yourself throughout prep in that way too. But mostly you figure out what the heck you're made of. And you might go through a prep and then be like, this isn't for me. And that could happen, but again, you're gonna learn so much about yourself throughout that, and that's also fine. So what I wanted to get into was basically just being able to put yourself into a scenario that you're focused on yourself and believing that if you give your 100%, there's nobody that can beat you because you already won. And then going into the comparison piece, because I hear it all the time, it's really hard because social media is in your face, and honestly, you have to block people or mute people that make you feel like you're comparing yourself to them constantly. I never, ever, ever compared on social media. If I knew somebody was gonna be in my show, and this is when I was an amateur. In the pros, it's a little different because it's just different. You're used to it, whatever, but you still don't compare yourself. And again, I'll get into it. So I never looked at anyone else. And if I knew somebody's gonna be in my show, I would just mute them because I couldn't do it. Your mind needs to be a mental fortress that nothing can penetrate. And you are in charge of that. And you need to make sure that you're not letting that happen. And that's on you. So you have to do what you have to do to make sure that nothing gets in here. You need to be your biggest advocate, your biggest best friend, your biggest hype woman, okay? That's that. Now, comparison in general. You could be comparing yourself to somebody that is editing their stuff, that has completely different genetics, shape, and structure than you, is in a different category than you. And I need you to know that when you're on that stage, it's only you that is up there with your shape, your structure, and the judges might like your shape and your structure, even if you're smaller than somebody else. And that's my story. I'm never gonna be the biggest person on that stage, but I have shape, I have symmetry, I have structure. The genetics are there. And so you just cannot compare yourself to anybody. It just makes literally no sense. So all you can do is put one foot in front of the other and go about your journey. And so that is just a little bit about me, my thought process going into it. And by the way, let's say that I didn't even go pro. I probably would have stopped bodybuilding, but I would have learned so much. Those lessons that I learned will be with me forever, because you're talking to a girl that didn't believe in herself, thought she could never. I grew up with this idea that I'm just an F up. And that's because throughout my life, I have gotten into trouble from the age of 13 to like 23. I was getting in trouble left and right. Just, again, super distracted, not a good influence, really just never lived up to my full potential. And so I won the biggest prize by showing up for that girl that wasn't on her A game and didn't live up to her full potential. I showed up for her day in and day out, and that was a huge why of mine. Why I was gonna give 110% is because I didn't before, and that disappointed me. I disappointed myself, not like hard, but kind of rewriting that narrative, dude, that is the biggest prize that I could have ever gotten. And so we know the rest of the story. I won my pro card. I went and I've done 2 pro seasons now. And now here's the other like big thing that I want to talk about is being natural, staying natural, why and who should, you know, stay natural. So I walked you through how many years I had been training, and it was pretty much my whole life, right? So I believe that that's why I was able to stay natural and win my pro card, because I was an athlete my whole life, and obviously genetics play a part. And I had only been bodybuilding, like that was literally my first year bodybuilding. I didn't do any sort of prep, muscle growth season prior to my first show, anything. So I knew that, okay, clearly I have potential here, and that is something that I need to explore without enhancements. And that was my prerogative. I had nothing against enhancements, and I knew nothing about enhancements. And I also really didn't realize how many people, women specifically, are using enhancements. I just had no idea, because I had no idea about bodybuilding anyway. It's a whole new world, like a whole new subdivision of fitness that I just had never tapped into. And so when you sit there and consider like, or compare yourself to my story or whatever, you need to think about things like that. And that's the same exact story for my husband. And a lot of people might not know, but Matt actually went pro naturally also. And he has the same exact story. He's been an athlete his entire life. He has freakazoid genetics. It's crazy. So then my journey in the pro league just kind of became, hey, let's max out our genetic potential and see what we can do naturally. And then my second season, I used clenbuterol, which I honestly didn't even like. I think I saw better results with Evogen and Yohimbe. I was still using Yohimbe. But I just like, it became that I'm too close to having kids to want to wreck my hormones further or yada yada. So I was just like, let's just do it. Let's, continue naturally. I have no shade against anybody that uses enhancements. I just need you guys to hear that you should not even touch an enhancement if you have not been living the lifestyle and been in the gym lifting for at least 3 years. You can hit a different division. I don't know the obsession of being in the wellness division. When you're thinking about your division, you need to think about your genetics, your symmetry, and of course you can try to build into a specific category and train for that category. But if you don't have the density, if you're a fit model and you want to go to a competition and compete in wellness, it just doesn't make sense. You need to accept where you are in your journey. Don't speed it up and be realistic. If you have not been in the gym or living the lifestyle for at least 2 or 3 years, you should not be focused on enhancements. That all plays a part and has its place when the time's right. You need to think about your health, and something my brother brought to me, because trust me, I have wanted to do enhancements like a million times. I've thought about it. I have even bought stuff and didn't use it. And here's why. Okay, we talked about wanting to max out my genetic potential. We talked about having kids soon. But here's another thing that my brother told me, and I think about it often. When it's all said and done, especially as women, like you might have a less of a time period that you're bodybuilding. Do you want to, like, is this the main thing in your life? And when you're out of it, how will you feel if you have those, when you have the symptoms that are not, why am I not thinking of the word? When things happen to you that you can't change, whatever, you know what I'm talking about. It's hard. Like, when you're a competitor and you're competitive, you want to do whatever you can to win. And I get that. But you have to zoom out and you have to think about what's best for you and your life. And full circle moment, go back to thinking about the fact that you are gonna learn so much about yourself and you're gonna win regardless, because of the way that you get to show up for yourself 110% and go through the prep metamorphosis, you know? So I feel just that this message needed to happen, needed to come across, and I hope something I said resonated with you. If you have questions, leave them in the comments so I can go over them and maybe do Q&A or just talk about anything specific, anything you have questions about. Here's something super duper cool. I went on the Know Your Power podcast and I had mentioned that Matt and I are gonna drop a mock prep challenge at the end of the year. Sorry, beginning of the year in January. And that is happening.
What's up, you guys? We're doing something that we have never done before. We are launching our full 16-week mock prep challenge. We're going to give you the full treatment of what it's like to be in a real prep. So you're going to get the nutritional value, the customized training, the weekly check-ins, the mindset coaching, everything we use in a real prep, minus the spray tan.
And listen, we're only keeping it to 30 people max because we want to be able to one-on-one coach every single person that comes into this challenge and make sure that we give you the best value possible. This isn't just for bodybuilders. This is for anybody that wants to experience a real life prep in a safe environment.
So if you're ready to make a commitment for yourself, trust the process, trust us as your coach, then this is your time to train like a champion.
Get ready, mock prep starts soon.
So head to my Instagram if you want more information. But if any of this resonated with you and you want to do a prep metamorphosis, and maybe I should call it that next time, without the pressure, then talk to me, join in. We are capping this at only 30 people. So first come, first serve. But if there is like an overwhelming amount of people that are interested, because I have already gotten so many people that have reached out about it, we will open slots and I'll probably bring in my 2 assistant coaches. Shout out Marissa, shout out Emily. And then we can get more people into just like the best time ever, because it is so incredibly hard and it's so overwhelmingly beautiful that maybe not during, but after, that you show up for yourself and you build so much confidence that, by the way, bleeds into so many other aspects of your life, like actually every other aspect of your life. Like, I could do hard stuff and I can show up for myself, and so I can also ask for a raise or get through uncomfortable conversations or talk to my gym crush, or I don't know, whatever. But anyway, I am just really excited to get this message out, and I am excited to be in camp right now. If you guys have been watching, I am not prepping for a bodybuilding show. It's not a high rocks, it's not a CrossFit competition, something top secret that has been really pushing me. I've been training completely differently. I've been tapping into like my athletic roots, which is so fun. So more on this later, and I'll see you guys soon. Thanks for tuning in.